Real Estate Exam 2026 50 Key Licensing Contracts and Market Questions. Flashcard 1. What is leverage? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: leverage is the use of borrowed funds to purchase assets or to finance an investment. Flashcard 2. How is the binder deposit shown on the closing disclosure form? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the binder deposit is shown as a credit to the buyer and a debit to the seller. Flashcard 3. What happens if a sales associate does not complete the required post-licensing education? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the sales associate's license becomes involuntarily inactive. Flashcard 4. How many sections are in a township? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: there are 36 sections in a township. Flashcard 5. What is the due on sale clause? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the due on sale clause allows the mortgagee to demand the outstanding loan balance plus accrued interest if the borrower sells or transfers any interest in the property without prior written consent. Flashcard 6. What requirement does not apply to dwellings built prior to 1978? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: buyers must have the property inspected for lead-based paint is not a requirement. Flashcard 7. Who owns the daycare center if one joint tenant passes away? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the surviving owner becomes the sole owner of the daycare center by operation of law. Flashcard 8. What adjustment should an appraiser make for extra half bath worth $200? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the appraiser should add $200 to the estimated value of the subject property. Flashcard 9. Which statement is incorrect about FHA and VA mortgages? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: VA is a government-insured loan and could be accompanied by an origination fee is incorrect. VA loans are guaranteed, not insured. Flashcard 10. Which lien takes priority? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: a property tax lien filed on January 14, 2018 takes priority. Flashcard 11. How is the intangible tax noted on the closing disclosure statement? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the intangible tax is typically noted as a debit to the buyer and a credit to the seller. Flashcard 12. What is an example of a blind ad? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: an example of a blind ad is Best Sales Associate in Town. Call Bob Barker, Townstate Realty. Flashcard 13. What is a penalty for a first-time minor violation without a fine? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: a citation is a penalty for a first-time minor violation that is not accompanied by a fine. Flashcard 14. What activity can an unlicensed personal assistant perform? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: an unlicensed personal assistant may hand out objective, written information on a rental property. Flashcard 15. How should two brothers take title if their wives want to receive title upon death? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the brothers should take title as tenants in common. Flashcard 16. What happens to the title if a father executed a general warranty deed but did not record it? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the son has title to the property because it was conveyed when the father delivered the deed and the son accepted it. Flashcard 17. What does the covenant of cession state? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the covenant of cession states that the grantor owns the property and has the right to convey it. Flashcard 18. Which expenses associated with a principal residence are deductible for income tax purposes? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: property taxes, mortgage interest points, and mortgage loan origination fees are deductible. Flashcard 19. How do Amy, Todd, Frank, and Francine own the beach house after Frank's death? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: they own the property as tenants in common, as Frank's share passed to his son. Flashcard 20. What is true about the monthly payments on a 30-year fully amortized loan? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: initially, interest is the larger portion of the payment. Flashcard 21. What are the rights flowing through your property called? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: they are referred to as subsuffice rights. Flashcard 22. When must a broker deposit an escrow check picked up on Tuesday? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the broker must deposit it into the escrow account by Wednesday. Flashcard 23. What must be included on the purchase and sales contract regarding the title company? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the name and address of the title company must be included. Flashcard 24. How much refund is the customer entitled to after canceling the rental list? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the customer is entitled to a refund of $475.00. Flashcard 25. Which statement is false concerning the primary and secondary mortgage markets? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the primary objective of the secondary mortgage market is to create new loans for borrowers to increase the money supply for lenders. Flashcard 26. What happens when a broker's license is suspended or revoked? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the sales associates registered under that broker cannot continue working under them, and their licenses are placed on inactive status. Flashcard 27. Which economic indicator adjusts in an adjustable rate mortgage? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the index is the economic indicator that adjusts. Flashcard 28. Which method of surveying property is used in subdivisions with recorded plat maps? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: the lot and block method, also called the plat method, is used. Flashcard 29. What type of notice is achieved by recording documents in public records? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: constructive notice is the type of legal notice achieved. Flashcard 30. In which mortgage lending theory does the borrower not retain title during the loan period? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: in title theory, the borrower does not retain title. Flashcard 31. If you are at the POB and heading N 90 degrees E, what direction are you headed? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, you are heading east. Flashcard 32. What is not true of an abstractive title? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, an abstractive title is not a complete search of the recorded documents concerning a parcel of real property. Flashcard 33. Which statement does not apply concerning the statute of frauds? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, the statute of frauds does not apply to a 3-month listing agreement. Flashcard 34. What describes a non-freehold estate that includes a definite specified amount of time? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, an estate for years describes a non-freehold estate with a specified duration. Flashcard 35. What happens if a licensee does not complete required post-licensing education? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, the status of the license will be involuntary inactive. Flashcard 36. Who is required to complete the 14 hours of continuing education? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, only actively licensed sales associates are required to complete the 14 hours of continuing education. Flashcard 37. How long can a licensee stay in involuntary inactive status? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, a licensee can stay in involuntary inactive status for 3 years. Flashcard 38. What must a broker disclose if the seller's roof leaks? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, the broker has satisfied his legal obligation if he tells the buyer that the roof leaks. Flashcard 39. What is the consequence of 2 brokers setting commission rates together? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, this is a violation of antitrust laws. Flashcard 40. Can a broker reimburse a customer for referral expenses? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, the broker can reimburse the customer for the expenses provided it is for a referral. Flashcard 41. What is the maximum reimbursement a broker can give for referral expenses? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, the total of the reimbursement cannot exceed $50.00. Flashcard 42. What is the seller's associate's check amount if a property is sold for $16.75 thus it at 6% commission and the associate receives 80%? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is $15. Flashcard 43. What happens if a sales associate takes original listing contracts when leaving a brokerage? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, if a sales associate takes original listing contracts, it could be charged with a breach of trust. Flashcard 44. What type of market exists when office space rentals are plentiful? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, a buyer's market. Flashcard 45. What are the guidelines that must be followed by appraisers called? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, USPAP Uniform Standards of Professional Appraisal Practice. Flashcard 46. What brokerage capacity can a company work with a buyer and seller in a single agent relationship? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, Single agent for the seller and transaction broker for the buyer. Flashheart 47. What is steering in the context of the Fair Housing Act? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: steering is when a licensee channels home seekers to or away from a particular neighborhood because they are a member of a protected class. Flashheart 48. What is the total number of residential lots available for development if a tract of land consists of 75% and 25% is reserved for community use? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 762 residential lots. Flashheart 49. What is the effective yield to the lender if the borrower has 5% interest on a loan and purchases 4 points? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 5.5%. Flashheart 50. How many bins can fit in a building that is 4 stories high? Each floor is 100 x 50, and 20% of each floor cannot be used. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 640 bins. Flashheart 51. What was the property listed at if a seller's associate's check was $22.50 for a property sold at $4.50 with a 70% commission? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 7%. Flashheart 52. What will be the assessment to the property owner for street paving costs if this city pays 40% of the costs? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is Flashheart 53. How many acres and square feet are in the legal description N1/2 of the SE1/4 of the NW1/4 and EN1/2 of the S1/2 of the SE1/4 of the N1/4 of Section 11? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 30 acres and 2,015 square.